In this video though, we're gonna talk about the batting tee. What's going on, guys? Coach Matt and YouGoProBaseball, and I'm here with the man, Josh Cathcart.
Nice to be back, my man.
Yeah.
Nice to be back.
Hey, last time I flew out to Texas to see him at the Hardball Academy. Now we're here in Florida.
Yes, finally made it to Florida. We're pumped about it. Got a camp going on tomorrow, so glad to be here, man.
Gonna talk some hitting, maybe do some fishing.
We are definitely getting some fishing in.
In this video though, we're gonna talk about the batting tee. These are the Cage Pro tees, first of all. I sell these on my website. I love them because they've got the pivot top action right here. In fact, Cage Pro hooked Josh up with these. I'm gonna send him home with these tees, so he's gonna give us a little more feedback after using these for a little while. But I wanted to pick his brain on using the tee. Is it good? Is it bad? What are, if you like it, what are some of the best drills that you could do with it? What do you got?
Well, man, so for me and everybody that's played this game and has hit has always seen a batting tee. When you're 4 years old, you get set up on a tee, and I love it. You know, every kid that walks in at the beginning of their lesson through their warm-ups, we're always using the tee. Why? Because the ball's not moving. And when the ball's not moving, we can fully concentrate on our body positioning, where the ball is. If we're trying to work opposite field, if we're trying to go pull side, you can move it up, down, in and out. The one thing that you have to be really careful about with this though is the actual placement of the tee. A lot of mistakes are made with players, especially young players who are left on their own to practice with the setup. If we're going with just our standard tee, the ball placement for contact is always going to be relative to the front foot. So when the front foot hits the ground, if you take your stride, where is that ball in relation to my front foot? For a pitch right down the middle, like this ball set up, this is middle, mid-thigh, okay? Once I take my stride, I want that ball to be slightly out in front of the front foot, okay? And that would be a pitch middle. If I want to work a pitch that's on the outer half, outer third, this location would drop back, and where my front foot is, now it's going to be slightly inside the front foot, and that would allow my barrel to be here and work the other way. All right? For the inside pitch, that one's going to be more out in front from the front foot, and now I can be able to stay to the inside and get here with it. Okay, so it's extremely important to set that up, but make sure that you're not just using home plate as your reference. You have to use the front foot. If a kid starts way at the back of the box and his stride only brings him here, this would be different, okay? So make sure to do that. An easy way to look at it is you can set a diagonal, okay? From the outside pitch to that inside pitch, the locations would work on the diagonal. The next thing with the tee is consistency. And this is one of those, for me, it's kind of like a no-brainer, right? When you're learning how to hit, we all know hitting is really, really hard. The ball is not moving, okay? And like I said earlier, this allows us to really focus just on our body. Where are we? What is our body positioning? Where are my hands? Where are my feet? Okay? If you can't be consistent hitting a ball that is not moving, we shouldn't move on and start trying to take live BP or whatever else it is, okay? As a general rule for my hitters, when I talk young hitters, I'm talking my 9 to like 12, 13. If they can't hit 8 line drives out of 10 off of a tee setup, middle standard, we're not moving on to overhand. You have to be able to hit the ball off a tee and have a consistent path. And then you can start moving it around the zone. We get down here on that outer third, outer edge. We want to make sure that we can go the opposite way 8 out of 10 times. And then the same thing for the inside. So to answer your question, man, I love the tee. I think everybody can benefit from it. The only setback is you probably don't want to overdo it.
Okay.
Because when you start overdoing it, it can train your swing at only one place.
That makes a lot of sense. And that kind of brings me to my question that I was thinking of while you were talking, and before we get into maybe some of your favorite drills off of the tee. But how often, say a guy who does consistently get 8 out of 10, he's older, maybe he's in that 9 to 12-year-old range, who's consistent off of the tee, at that point, how much tee work should they be doing?
I think that one is all feel. That's for the player. You're gonna have some guys. I have actually one of my, he's a high school guy, but he's a junior, he's a college recruit. He comes in and man, he'll take about 5, and if he feels good, he'll move that thing, take 5 more, and all right, coach, I'm good.
Sweet.
Yeah, and then you've got kids that wanna come in and they wanna take, 25, 30 at one spot to groove a swing. So you can also use it that way. Set your own routine, but if you're struggling with a pitch in a certain location, maybe a little more time dedicated to it, but it varies. There's some big league guys that don't use the tee, right? Alex Bregman's one. He doesn't, nope, I want soft toss. I want this coming. So it's very, very individual. But for the young ones, you're probably looking at 30 to 40 in a session with me that we're working on the tee before we get something else going.
Nice. Actually, I did a tee analysis, a hitting analysis. Bobby Tewksbury did it off of the hit tracks. It's called Pelotero, and he was moving the tee around for me. And it showed after I forget how many swings it was like 80 swings or something like that. And after I swung at each, it was the same thing, moving the tee up, down, in and out like that. And then it showed me my weak points.
Oh, that's
I thought that was
awesome.
really cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a really
that's
cool
neat.
setup.
It's kind of like the hot and cold zones.
Yeah, exactly.
Very
so I thought that
nice.
was cool.
Yep.
What about drills? You got a couple drills that you like to do off of the tee?
So one of the ones, and for anybody out there, the high tee, man. The high tee is one that can alleviate. I don't even know. Look at these things, man. These tees are awesome.
Yeah, they're pretty sweet.
Get on up there. All right, so with the high tee, you don't want to get it to a level where the kid feels like they have to change the knob to get the barrel there, but you also want to have it high enough where they have to keep their hands up, where you're not ever going to have a hand drop on the backside. It's high connection is the terminology that I like to use, which would be from launch position and then connecting high. A bunch of kids see this online, or they see somebody else doing it and they get in there and like, oh, I'm working the high tee, and they end up popping the ball up. On the high tee, the idea should be down and to the inside. If I'm doing this properly, I'm gonna feel a little steep, and I really wanna work that inside. If I were to hit this right here, kind of that backspin line drive right up the middle is what we're doing. If you're really into a problem with kind of the collapse backside, I even have them just start in launch and basically just beat it into the ground so that they can feel the hands being high. So the high tee, always.
Before you go to the next one, I just got a question about this.
Okay.
So you talked about being a little steep to the ball. Is there strike line, and what I mean by strike line, and I'm a righty, so bear with me. Is their strike line going to be a little bit more like this versus like on a typical pitch, they've got more angle to the barrel? Are they going to be like more of a tomahawk, like barrel above the hands, or are they still going to be hands above the barrel on the high?
Hands are still going to be above. If I would, the thought is more of that down, like you're talking this, like just mentally, that feel versus real we hear about and everything. But if I was actually going to take a swing at this, when I get to contact here, I would be in this position.
Okay.
Where the shoulders are going to start to tilt just a little bit and get here. But for the young kids, the thought needs to be steeper so that we don't get anything on the back.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Yep.
Got another one?
Yeah, man. So after the high tee, depending on, again, player, but one of the ones that I always go to, I like the ISO drills. And you can do this, just move this down. I prefer to go bottom hand. This is my new fungo that John got me, by the way. This is awesome, y'all. Not a standard bat, but I'm gonna use it today. So with the bottom hand, this one really working that inside out kind of thought here. And I like to box this. So if you were standard this way, just kind of hold, and you can take this and just come through. And again, everything to the inside and to the opposite field. Lefties, you get over here, be the same thing, and working this way. Okay, so the ISO hand drills, and then just wherever that player needs the help. You know, some guys just, they can't get to that higher pitch. Some guys really struggle with the down pitch. That short little tee over there would be great. I don't have one of these. I guess
Now
I do
you do.
now. I do now. Okay. But yeah, this down and away, just for players really working to stay down in their legs and get here. You're going to see a lot of young players that they can get to this point, but as they start to swing at this, they start raising up and they come here and they feel like they have to get under this pitch. And this one is more down and get behind the ball with the barrel instead of coming here and kind of dropping it down. But dude, that thing is awesome. And for the younger kids, that's going to be great.
Well, I was just gonna say, I actually use this with my t-ball team. My son's 5 years old, so this is perfect for, especially with some of the shorter guys on the team. They use it as an actual, you know, this is their tee. But for some of the shorter guys, we can still use it, and it's great because they're not gonna knock it over.
Well, you could do the back knee down stuff too. Get them down on one knee, and just isolate the upper half with that one down.
What about guys who aren't as fortunate as us to live in Texas and Florida with beautiful weather up north? They might not have a lot of time to get live practice in. What are your thoughts? I know you said you don't want to overdo the tee work, but is that something that they could be doing if they set up a net in their basement or something like that? Do you recommend like getting it in no matter what? Like how much work should we be putting in compared to like our environment, I guess I should say?
Well, I think that the tee, I think it should be a daily. If we're talking, hey, I'm going to hit every day, it should be something that you do every day. The amount that you do may vary, and it may vary day to day. You know, you may be feeling really good one day and like, all right, I don't need to do anything else. And then one day it may feel god awful, and it's like, I need to sit here until I figure this out. You just don't want to get to the point where it's empty reps. Okay, I don't want to sit up here and just dumb myself down. Okay, that ball's not moving, right? The ball's not moving. You want to have those focus reps, and I think that's very individual too. You're going to have some guys that can sit here and do that for 100 swings, and they're locked in. You got other kids, 3 or 4, and they're, you know, looking all over the place.
Right. That's a great, that brings me to a great thought here. Are you having your guys staring at the ball when they're hitting off of the tee, or are you having them look and simulate, like change their eyes, like as if there was a pitcher, or is it up to them?
No, it's not up to them. It's not. And I'm glad you brought it up because I forgot about it. Absolutely. On all your drills, obviously the tee, but even on like side toss drills, I always want my players setting up like they would be in a game. And the reason for that is the positioning of the shoulders. If I get in here and I just look down at that tee, I can get really turned and still see that ball. I'm never going to get that turned if I'm looking at the pitcher. That's as far as I can go. But on that tee, I can look down and get to here. So you've got to look out for that. I also like the rhythm that it creates. If I'm looking out at the pitcher right now, I can simulate, and now track. And one of the things that I tell especially my young ones, my older ones, they're pretty programmed at this point. But the young ones, when the load starts, find the ball. So if you're just here, all right, I'm ready, load start, find the ball. And now when you set up, the shoulder should be right. And that's what you really got to look for, is that upper body rotation.
That's a great point. The T-ball team that I'm coaching now with my son, or help coaching now, we don't actually use the tee a whole lot except for the guys that need it, you know, to hit off of the tee. My thought process there is, I just want to get their hand-eye coordination going at that young age. We work on the stance, obviously trying to get them into a good setup, but I think it's almost like, to me at least, and you can disagree, but at that young age, the T-ball age, it's almost like I want less tee work, more of them hitting live, and then as they get older, then we're breaking them back down into the fundamentals, the basics, back on the tee, get that swing going, and then as they get older, maybe a little bit less, depending on the player. I don't know.
I tell you
that's what we're doing.
You have more experience with T-ballers than I do. We don't start with the training at the facility until 9, just because of the expectation and everything that goes with individual lessons. I will say though, for those younger ones, the body control and the awareness, and even the timing aspect of hitting something that's moving. Now, I'm probably not going to take a T-baller and start going overhand with them yet. I'm going to go, you know, soft toss, whatever it is, because the number one thing, regardless of when you start, if you start at 4 years old playing this game, or if you start at 20 years old, balance. Balance is it. And you want to find something that's going to challenge them enough, but also where they can have some success in feeling their body and doing that. And if you're pitching to them and their timing's off and their balance is all over the place, then you're kind of doing them a disservice. But if it's a player that can get in here and with the ball moving, they can have some feel of where their body is, I'm all for it, man. You got to find that fine line between pushing them a little bit, but not discouraging them to the point of frustration, especially with the young ones. It's still got to be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I just had the conversation this morning at the barbershop. That's an office.
Make it fun.
Yeah,
and
it's gotta be fun.
And granted, dude, I'm a high energy guy. Like anybody that's seen me knows, I'm just like, let's go, let's go. And so I have to back up sometimes and remember, we got to make this fun for them. And whether it be tee work, whether it, soft toss, whatever. If you start to see kids kind of get that internal frustration, switch it up, take a break, do what you do.
Absolutely, got to keep the game fun, that's for sure. Guys, if you're on the market for a tee, check out the Cage Pro tee. I sell it on my website. We got the Classic, the Shorty, and there's actually one called the Travel, which is just this stem on the lighter base. So I'll leave the link down below where you can check that out. If you want to check out Josh, he's got a website. He sells online analysis. If you got a young hitter that you want to have looked at, definitely worthwhile checking that out. He's in the Texas, Houston, right?
Houston area.
Houston area.
Yep.
It's been a while. What was the name of it?
Pearland.
That's right.
Yeah, man.
Pearland, Texas.
Pearland.
So check him out if you're in the area over there. He does a bunch of camps across the country. Right now he's doing a camp tomorrow here in Florida. So check his website. He might be coming to a city near you. What are some of the other things that you got on the site?
Man, we've got, so I do customized practice plans also.
Nice.
Once I do the analysis, it's about a 10-minute video breakdown, voiceovers. I've got some pro models that we do side-by-sides.
Nice.
And then I set up a customized practice plan for that player. I also have already preset plans for specifics of the swing. I have a bat speed, I have a connection, I have a separation, and then I have a high school level, I think it's actually called the varsity drill circuit, and then a basic beginning hitters drill circuit, just for the overall fundamentals. You can just hop on, purchase whatever, shoot me an email, and I send it over to you.
There you go.
So,
check them
yeah,
out.
go check
over
that
there.
out.
Instagram, YouTube, all over, Twitter, all that good stuff. Check him out. I'll leave all his information down below.
Yep.
And we'll see you in the next video.